I've been using a normal 3-pin socket at home to charge my EVs, and it works absolutely fine, but it's so slow. This is my garage, and this is the socket I've been charging my EVs. So currently I've got the Nero plugged in. This is referred to as a granny charger, also a portable charger. There's a few different names for it. Effectively, it just allows you to charge your car on a normal home socket. Not every EV comes with these now. It used to be the case that they did, so you might have to buy this separately if you need it. I like to charge when the electricity is cheap, and for me, on the Octopus Go tariff, it's cheap for 5 hours during the night, 8.5 pence per kilowatt hour. So I want to charge on the cheap rate. Now, if I was to just charge on the cheap rate using this granny charger, this is only going to give me 8 miles per hour. That means during that 5 hours of cheap rate, I'm just adding 40 miles to the car. And when you consider that our daily commute doing the school run back and forth is about 24 miles, I'm not actually adding very much every day. Now, obviously, I could charge throughout the day, and it would still be cheaper than public charging, but it would take 32 hours and 45 minutes to charge up the eNero's 64 kilowatt hour battery. The big problem is most sockets are not designed for that amount of power for a sustained period of time. So for safety reasons, it's really important to get a socket that can actually handle a sustained load. If you're in the UK, you want to get a socket that's BS 1363-2, and it'll have EV marked on the back. That's a British standard. That means that the socket is designed for EV use. So it means it's designed for long periods of time, charging at 10 amps. You can do that without worrying about the internals of the socket burning out. So on this Kia charger, you've got a button at the back. If you press that, then you can change the amount of amps. You can go 6 amps, 8 amps, or 10 amps. And if you're wondering why would you want to change the amount of amps, the more amps that you have, the faster it's going to charge. So at 10 amps, you're charging at 2.3 kilowatts. At 6 or 8 amps, obviously you're charging fewer kilowatts, and that means you're generating less heat. It takes longer to charge the car, but you're less likely to cause any problems on a normal socket that is not rated for EVs. So I know people that just use the granny charger to charge their EVs, and that works absolutely fine for them. And in fact, you could argue it's false economy to spend about £1,000 on a dedicated 7 kilowatt charger when you could just use this, because this charging peak rate is 27.16 pence for me, which is still cheaper than public charging, of course. So this is fine and it works well for a lot of people. But for me, I just like having a faster charge. So if I want to get a meaningful charge when I charge at night at the cheap rate, I don't want to be charging on this. I really want to be charging on a proper home charger, a wall box or a charge point, whatever you want to call it. At the previous house, I had a Zappi and I absolutely loved it. I had 0 complaints about it. It was a brilliant charger. Do I get that again at this house, or do I go for something different? To decide which charger I should get, whether I get a Zappi again or something else, I decided to go up to see my friend Raimo in Derbyshire and see what he had to say about it, because what he doesn't know about chargers isn't worth knowing. If you already have a charge point at home, then maybe you could share it to other EV drivers and earn some money on the side. That's exactly what you can do with the app Joosup, and they're sponsoring today's video. Joosup is an EV charging app that lets you share and monetize your home charger, offering bookable, affordable, and reliable EV charging. The app is easy to use and has some great features. And by using my promo code MrEV when you sign up, you can get an amazing 180 days free. Click the link in the description box to download Joosup for Android or iPhone, and head over to joosup.com for more information about how you can start earning money from your home charger. Thanks very much to Joosup, and back to the video. Nick here has a whole load of chargers. Some people collect stamps or comic books. Nick seems to collect chargers.
Charger there.
Tesla one down there. Easy. Nice box.
Every time I do a video about chargers, I call them a charger, and then I get comments saying they're not chargers. Chargers are inside the EVs. What should we call them?
Chargers.
Okay.
They're EVA, EVSE, whatever you want to call them. But at the end of the day, people who sell these call them chargers. They advertise them as chargers, and the average man on your street is going to say, I need an EV charger.
I've got some things that I really need out of a charger. I want it to be a smart charger that supports Intelligent Octopus Go.
Okay.
That's a big thing, right?
Okay.
Secondly, I want it to work with my solar panels, so I can, well, when I get solar panels, so I can plug it in and I can charge directly off the solar. Even though, is that even a consideration? We'll talk about that in a minute. I want it to be reliable, have a good app. What else? Made in Britain, I suppose would be nice. So I think they're my requirements. You've got a selection of 4 here for me to look at. So we've got the Zappy, which I know and love, Simpson and Partners, which I've never heard of, Omi, and Hypervolt. So can you run me through each one and tell me what's going to be the best one for me?
Okay, so not all of these do Octopus Intelligent. Okay.
Okay.
I've picked out some just for a bit of fun. So Zappy, Octopus Intelligent, Indra, Octopus Intelligent. I think some wall boxes do Octopus Intelligent. Omi does Octopus Intelligent, and Hypervolt does Octopus Intelligent. I picked this out mainly because I know how fussy your wife can be at times with looks and characters, and this is quite a nice looking charge point on the front of your house. It's got interchangeable colours, and they were at the Mercury launch event of Octopus, so there is a possibility we may see it enrolled eventually in Octopus Intelligent. The problem with Octopus... Oh, I'm going to start again because my phone wasn't on silent. That's a rookie error, that.
So the Simpson and Partners, is that a British company? I mean, I've never heard of it before.
So the guy who owns Simpson and Partners, the guy who started it, is the same guy that made another good-looking charger, and that company, he basically left the company. We won't go into illegals, but it's the other charger that looks very good-looking, that very large charger with the cable wraps around it, the Anderson.
The Anderson.
So so that's the same guy who's designed this.
Okay.
Really nice fella, David, and this is a really top-level, high-quality product. Metal casing, really solid. My wife definitely could hit this with a bat and we wouldn't even see a crack in the casing. It's a really solid unit.
Okay.
But it's a small company, which is why it's not on Octopus Intelligent yet.
Okay.
Because Octopus are looking for volume. So whichever customer chargers or cars got the largest volume of customers, they'll enroll them onto Intelligent first. The whole thing will be everyone goes on Intelligent eventually.
Okay.
But they need to concentrate on volume. And Mercury, their system, which we can talk about another time, that will eventually mean that the charge companies just have a schedule to work to so they can be on Intelligent. Looks wise, that's one of the best. They do it in untethered and tethered.
Okay.
But this unit has a little light at the bottom that appears at the bottom. It's just very, very aesthetically nice. I think there's 128 combinations of what you can have it look like on the front.
Okay, it does look beautiful. I mean, it's like if John Lewis made a charger, that's what it would look like.
Yeah, it's got a very John Lewis etchy feel to it.
Yeah,
but it's made in the Cotswolds, so it's as far as I know, it's pretty much all UK made. This, but the problem with UK made, there's UK made and there's UK assembled. Okay, so pretty much all these chargers, the parts will be imported from China and other places in the world, and they're just assembled in the UK.
Sure.
And there is some companies that claim to be UK manufactured, but it's a bit sketchy on what actually UK manufactured is.
Okay.
I mean, at the end of the day, if you're really bothered about UK manufacturing, you shouldn't be driving an EV because your EV is not UK manufactured.
That's very true. Good also that it's untethered, because I do want an untethered charger.
Okay, no you don't.
Well, I do.
No you don't.
Well, I've got a Nissan Leaf,
yeah.
So I'm kind of stuck with both Type 1 and having Type 2, so I need an untethered, really.
No you don't. You just sell the Nissan Leaf, right, because it's all hideous to look at. Sorry, Leaf fans. But yeah,
I like it.
It's horrible. It's a horrid looking car. But my advice to anyone looking for a charger, unless they've got a Nissan Leaf, is you want tethered, because 99% of the time, most people with tethered chargers have a cable permanently locked in it. Right now, is there a cable locked in your charger?
I don't have one at the moment, but when I did have a charger, yes, it had a cable.
All the time in it?
Well, yeah, between one, or in fact, I had 2 cables wrapped round because I had the Leaf one.
And primarily it was your Type 2 cable always plugged in.
Most of the time.
Yeah. So if you're going for tethered, you're going to be pretty much the same. So keep the Type 2 cable, just have it pre-built in. A lot of the units with cables sort of built in will have pre-made cable storage. The Zappy unit, for example, when theirs is tethered, the cable's wrapped around the unit, and then you insert the plug at the front like that to kind of like cable manage it in.
Okay.
I mean, even if you have the untethered one, you still got that point that you can wrap it round, but it just looks a bit more clunky when it's not sort of part of the design.
I do have quite a big driveway though, so if I've got 2 cars parked on it, I think I might need a longer Type 2 cable.
So buy the longest cable they make for those chargers. I mean, I think the Hypervolt comes with I think it's like a 14-meter length. Someone will correct me in the comments, but they do a ridiculously long cable with it.
Yeah. Okay.
So you can opt for longer cable. So if you know that your drive is very long and you can park 2 cars on it, always buy the longest cable you can get. If you've only got 1 parking space, then consider that the car you have now, the charging port might be different on the next car. It might be at the back, it might be at the front. So make sure whichever charger you get, wherever it's going, that cable would reach all possibilities on any car that you might futurely buy.
Sure. Okay. I'm almost convinced. Okay. So that's Simpson and Partners. Does it have a good app?
The app's okay. So the thing I found with all these companies, that all their apps are awful. No one makes a good interface app. Some of them are better than others. So particularly, I'm a big fan of the Omi app. I really like the way it integrates with the car. So it don't integrate it with all cars, but most cars it integrates with the car, so it knows what the charge level's on. Now the advantage for this is if you're going on Octopus Intelligent, Octopus like to know what the charge status is of the car, so they can work out the hours they're going to schedule at.
Yeah.
So even if they don't know the hours, they'll schedule the hours and assume it's on empty all the time. But when they know the charge rate, they can schedule those hours better. So if you've got stuff like batteries and you're charging them off Intelligent, you can schedule the hours better if the Octopus know your battery's state of charge, and then they give you the actual hours they're going to charge you at, rather than we're going to charge you at these hours and then they change it randomly during the night as your car gets full.
Yeah.
So Omi will interrogate the car, let Octopus know the charge rate, and that means that you get a bit more of a balance. Now,
sorry, can I just say, how does it interrogate the car? Because it doesn't know it through the Type 2, does it?
No.
Okay.
So use Omi have integrated APIs from the car. So you log in with your car's API. Most cars are on there. Tesla, Hyundai, Renault, they're all on there. So that it's basically just logging in your API credentials and then reading that. So very similar to what Octopus do if they're doing intelligent via the car, not the charger.
Yeah.
So they're just integrating with that API part.
Okay.
So there's no way of reading the state of charge of a car via Type 2. You can only do it by CCS.
Yeah. Okay.
To be honest, all the chargers, forget the app. You should never need to use the app for a car charger.
Okay.
All you should have to do is come home, plug it in.
Yes.
That's it. You shouldn't need to use the app. You should use it once, set your credentials up, set whatever up. But mainly, the only time you ever want to use the app is log in. Yeah, it's charging. No, it's not. That's all an app should really be used for when it comes to a car charger. Now, what Intelligent does is Octopus have forced the charge companies to give up some of their IP, some of the stuff that they like to hold on to. And Octopus will display the charge rate and stuff like that in the Octopus app. So you just use your normal Octopus app on Intelligent, and it will say what charge rate you want, when you want it ready by, and it will tell you on the Octopus app when it's going to charge it.
Yeah.
And really, you should only need one app, and that's from the company that's charging you the power. So really, I don't see the point in an app.
Okay.
I mean, the Zappy app looks very nice, but it's not very functional. Can't really do much with it.
I just remember using it when I had it in the previous house. I remember just thinking, oh, it's nice to see the solar that I'm getting, and it's nice to see what the house is using in terms of electricity. But obviously, the Octopus app does that now as well, doesn't it?
This one doesn't do solar.
Okay.
Okay. So Omi doesn't do solar. Now, that is because you really should not be using solar to charge your car.
Okay.
Okay. Forget about it, because you're getting paid more to export it. So at the moment when we're talking right now, Octopus is 15p export and 7p import.
Right.
So it's lower carbon at night to charge your car. So it's greener on the grid to export your solar during the day when it's high carbon.
Yeah.
So you're actually being greener by exporting it, not using it yourself. So if your argument is for green purposes, you're not being green. You're actually being less green, because it's more, the grid's better at night, not during the day. You should be supporting the grid.
Okay.
It's cheaper to do it at night rather than during the day.
Yeah. Okay.
And that's one of the reasons Omi haven't developed that part of the app of solar charge, because they believe that customers who are savvy will do it that way around. If that rate changes and flips, so if you get meets the same or it flips, you watch how fast Omi integrates solar, because it can do it. It's got CT clip. So a CT clip clips over your electric and it monitors what goes in and out.
Yep.
Monitor both ways. So all they have to do is design that part of the app to say, when you see export, charge the car instead.
Okay.
So all the charges are possible to do it. It's just that they've not integrated in the app because there's no point.
So you're saying I shouldn't be too hung up on the whole solar thing?
No, I personally would not use any solar charging my EV if you're using Octopus Intelligent.
Okay.
None.
Okay, because it's costing you twice as much.
It's costing you twice as much, and you can export it for a profit.
Yeah.
You're
okay.
making more money, and your energy bill will be lower, and it's greener.
Again, I'm almost convinced with that. So that's the Omi. We've talked about Simpson and Partners and the Omi, and what's this? Hypervolt.
So Hypervolt. So they've been around for a while. So their first unit, I wasn't impressed with. I was very disappointed with the build quality. I'll be honest. So when they wanted to send me the second unit, the first thing I said is, if you're going to send me a second unit, I want to test it to destruction. I want to prove to me that you've made this unit better. So what they did was they allowed me to smash it with a cricket bat, and the cricket bat didn't break it. The axe did.
Right. Okay.
So this had an axe to it, but this is only a cover. So it's sacrificial. So that's a new cover. It's the same charger inside. It still works.
Right.
It even worked with this smashed.
Okay.
So it's a really improved design. It's very, very, very robust. And again, it's a tethered design. Can do solar. It's got multiple CT clamp connections in there. So if you like the idea of monitoring multiple CTs over solar and batteries and stuff like that, it can do much the same as what everyone else can. It can do Octopus Intelligent. I believe it can also do OVO Drive anytime.
Okay.
So it can actually do both. In fact, the Omi and the Hypervolt, I think, and the Indra unit are the only chargers that can do both OVO and Octopus.
Right. Okay.
So that means that you've got that possibility to switch between the two power companies to get those intelligent charging hours at cheaper rates, but you're not tied to one specific charger.
And they're British as well, right?
So they say on their website it's British made. I don't check any characteristics of any of the companies. They say it, I believe them.
Okay.
So that's what they say. Omi is Chinese built. It's a British company. The guys who own it are really nice fellas, and it's British designed, but they build in China because they're trying to build it for the lowest cost. Omi by far is one of the cheapest EV chargers of quality that you can fit.
Okay. So of these four here, am I right in thinking this is the most expensive?
It's pretty much on par with the Zappi.
Okay.
So this is slightly cheaper than the Zappi.
Right.
This is only slightly more expensive than the Omi. That's on par with the Zappi.
Okay. And I mean, something I love. I mean, let's talk about the Zappi a little bit because, as I say, I used to have one of these. Yeah. And I just loved it. I don't know what it was about it.
Well, you own a Nissan Leaf, so you care about looks. They're great people, and they make great technology, and they do great stuff. But the design for me is dated now. Compared to the rest of these units, no one in the video is going to say that's the best looking unit.
I think it looks friendly though. I mean that clearly. I mean, so that's clearly the best.
That's clearly the best looking.
Yeah, I mean that's classy.
And some people might even think that the Omi's the ugliest because it's quite a plain sort of black box.
Yeah.
Now Omi do another version. They do an Omi Pro, which is very sort of similar to it, but with a screen on it. But that's clearly the best looking. I'd say that's somewhere in the middle of being a Zappi in this, in my opinion, and the Omi's somewhere placed around it. But to me, it's just a very large, bulky. It's just too big for me.
One of the things I do like about this is it's got a screen that reminds me of the iPod, the original iPod.
Yeah.
So I get a warm feeling from it. It looks kind of retro almost.
Again, with the app, why do you need a screen?
It looks good. I look at it and I can see, the energy use.
And how often have you ever done that on your old charger?
Sometimes I would. Sometimes
you've done it once just to see if it was charging.
I would walk past and I would say, oh yeah,
well,
good. We're getting
2
kilowatts.
This one and this one, and I think this one has a light at the bottom, but they have a status light that glows a different colour if it's charging.
Okay.
So you don't have to look at the tiny little screen. You can just stand from your house and go, oh look, it's charging. I can see the green light.
Okay.
So it's it's a visual to me. Like I said, the Zappi is a great unit. If you're going to have a battery system and solar, it's great because it can see both because it's got multiple CTs, much like the Hypervolt, and that's what's good about it.
Okay.
But I just think the Zappi guys need to update the design. It's just too bulky. If you open that up, it's huge amounts of space in it.
Okay.
So it has got a longevity benefit for that because it's got lots of space in it. It's got lots of air to keep itself cool. So when you're charging, say, on a hot summer's day and the sun's beating down on it from the south, because it's got that large airflow inside it, it won't overheat. The electronics in there are not crammed in. Okay. They've got loads of breathing room. Okay. But they could make it small. They could make it neater. They could make it look a bit more stylish. That unit, I think, I remember going to the launch for it, and I'm pretty sure it was like 5 or 6 years ago. So it's time for a refresh. And I'll be surprised if they don't release a refresh within the next 6 months.
Okay, you heard it here first. So, what about three-phase? Firstly, I was told by UK Power Networks I might need three-phase.
Okay.
Obviously, then they quoted £15,000, and I think we'll just have a 100 amp upgrade. Thank you very much. But I know a lot of people will be watching in mainland Europe, and three-phase is more common over there. So, do you know which of these support it?
Simpsons, My Energy. I think Omi have a three-phase in the works.
Okay.
I may ask you to edit this out just in case I wasn't allowed to possibly discuss that happening. And then Hypervolt. I don't think they have a three-phase version. In the UK, the majority of homes are going to be single-phase.
Well, it's weird for any to be three-phase.
Yeah, and for the cost that you've just said, most people are not going to upgrade to three-phase. There is some circumstances where you may get a free three-phase upgrade, which is if your neighbour's on a loop supply, they're going to have to put a new supply in anyway. They might say, hey, look, we'll give you three-phase for free. Yeah. So if you're getting off it for free, take it.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, take it. But otherwise, you don't need three-phase to charge an EV. If you're in mainland Europe, then the Zappi three-phase system is probably, in my opinion, one of the best because it's got one of the safest pen fault systems. So pen fault is more of a UK issue, but it's just got a lot more safety devices in the Zappi.
Okay.
The Simpson partner's got quite a lot of safety devices in it as well. But for three-phase, I've got one of these at work for three-phase because again. Okay. I don't care if it looks industrial at work because it's a garage. But three-phase wise, Zappi's the only one I've got a personal use of every single day. Okay. But yeah, Simpson partner do it. I've got stacks behind you, Andrew, of three-phase chargers. If you told me you were going to mention three-phase, we would have pulled any of them out. People in Europe will be more familiar with the Zappi. It's big. It's big in Europe.
Is it? Okay. Yeah. Do you know anything about the support for these companies? I mean, which one gets the best? Complicated question.
It's a complicated question because I have relationships with all these companies, but I'm not a sponsor or work with them. But I have tested the support of all these companies, and none of them are great. The support is not great because they're trying to sell units, and support kind of always falls down to let's employ more sales staff and sell more units. But they are, at the end of the day, you should never need support of a unit. 90% of the support calls all these companies will get will because an engineer's done it wrong.
Right. Okay.
Okay. That I'm telling you now, that is the main reason for any support call is the engineer's done it wrong. OMI do have a support ticket system, so you can put a support ticket login on the OMI app, and they have staff in America and all around the world because they sell it, universally all around the world. And they'll pick it up and get round to it. So it's reasonably quick. My Energy, again, most people ring up with My Energy support tickets usually because the engineers put the CT clamp backwards and they're going, my car's not charging, or it's not doing my solar. So it tends to be an install issue with all these units. Okay. If the unit's gone wrong, it's very rare. Most of these units, they either don't work from day one, or they fail near the end of life. Sure. In which case, all the companies, they'll all send you a new unit eventually, but they need to go through certain procedures to get there. 9 times out of 10, it's quicker to email these companies and sit on a phone and ring them.
Yeah, okay. And what about ongoing support? I mean, are all of these companies safe?
How long's a piece of string, Andrew? Earlier in last year, Anderson's went bust. Yeah. And they got rescued by another company. Okay. And basically the app support and the chargers start getting made again by this other company. The guy who bought them out used to own another charging company that he sold to BP. And he had loads of money and he ended up buying the Anderson charger and rescuing it, and he's redeveloping it and stuff like that. Now, if any of these companies go bust, the chances are someone will more than likely buy up the assets. Okay. And when I say assets, I mean you as a user are an asset. Because that grid control turning off and on, that modulation of the grid is worth a lot of money. Okay, yeah. A lot of money. And the data's worth a lot of money. So someone will buy it and probably run it just for that data. Now, there's a smart regulation about chargers that if the app disconnects or it stops working, they just go into dumb mode. So they'll all just charge your car. So if they lose connection to the server, You plug them in, they'll just work.
Okay.
You just lose the app.
Right.
There is protocols called, there's like open protocols that all these chargers are supposed to meet, but they all pick their own part of the standard. The problem with standards is they're not very standardized, as you probably know. But if it's on intelligent, my bet is even if another company didn't buy them up, you'll probably find that Octopus will run the intelligent side. They'll buy out those users and say, look, if you're an Octopus customer, we will enroll that car on Octopus Intelligent and support the car charger through our back end, which is what I probably think will happen if any of these intelligent chargers go under.
Right.
Like, again, half these units are based on how many they're still selling. So if they're still selling units and they're still pushing units, the company will carry on growing and surviving.
Yeah.
Eventually, they're going to stop selling units because, all the units numbers are going to slow down rapidly. Then the money is in selling your data.
Okay. I think I need to come to a conclusion with this and actually pick one. Well, firstly, which one would you pick? Well, I know you've got an Omi on the front.
I mean, I've got an Omi on the front because for me, I can interrogate it the best. I don't care about solar. I care about aesthetics.
Okay.
And I want a small unit, aesthetically pleasing. And the Omi Pro, which is the one I've got it on the shelf behind you, is the most aesthetically pleasing for me.
Okay. So going back to my list at the beginning, which of these supports solar? It was this one.
That one, and that one.
Okay.
But only these two support intelligent.
Okay. So really, it's between this and the Hypervolt.
If you want
at
solar.
the moment.
But again, I wouldn't discount this because, like I said, once the solar export rate changes, Omi will develop that part of the app.
Okay. And if I was stubborn and I wanted untethered, I mean, clearly that's untethered. This is that's untethered, right?
Yeah, I don't think Hypervolt make an untethered version at all.
Okay. All right.
So you're basically stuck. If you just want intelligent and untethered, you're stuck between the Zappi and the Omi ePod, not the Pro. The Pro's only got a cable on.
Okay. So between those two.
Yep.
I think I'm still drawn to the Zappi.
I mean, at the end of the day, if I was you, I'd probably check with your wife before you make a decision.
I should, shouldn't I? Yeah, I'll give her a call. Ciao, darling.
Ciao.
Okay, I'm just at Nick's house, and I'm thinking of going with the Zappi. What do you think?
I don't know. I don't care, Gnagno.
Okay, thanks. Okay, ciao.
Ciao.
And that's why I, as an Italian man, married an English woman.
And with that, I think on that bombshell. Okay, well, I think I'll leave it at that. I look forward to hearing what you think in the comments. Tell me what charger you've got, whether you've got one of these and it's been great or awful or whatever. Thank you very much, Nick.
All right, pleasure.
And thank you very much for watching.
See you later.
And subscribe, like, and all the rest of it. Bell icon. What's my usual sign off? I think my brain has gone to mush. Thank you very much for watching. Please press the subscribe button and the bell icon to be notified of other videos. And I'll be back very soon. Bye for now.